gentlemen, to another edition of DLS Weekly. I'm Patrick Ariandes. With me tonight, Benny Mitchell, Glenn Frazier. We are back here, Buffalo Wild Wings in Dover, for an action-packed show tonight. Smell the great food. The atmosphere is great here in Dover. It's a phenomenal time here on a lovely Wednesday evening. Tonight, we will be joined by the Milford and hopefully Lake Forest football teams here before the Battle of the Bell on Friday night. Benny, we're really excited about that one as well. We'll also have the new Super 7 football rankings, a look at Week 1 games and our top plays as well as top performers of the week. And welcome in Benny and Glenn. And Benny, we'll start with you, man. Really excited having the Battle of the Bell coming up, getting hyped up for that one.
Yeah, 54th playing of this game, going back to 1969. Battle of the Bell that used to run between Harrington and Milford. That's where the bell comes from the train, yeah. So we have Milford's here waiting for Lake Forest. They said they were coming, so hopefully they're just running late.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big game, and we'll talk about it a little later. I've broken these two teams down, and they're just dead even going into this game, talent-wise, on Friday night.
Should be a good one. And Glenn, always nice being down here in the Dover Buffalo Wild Wings. It'll be a special night here tonight.
Short ride for May, finally, instead of having to go up to Christiana or down to the beach. But, yeah. Now, we're going to have another rivalry game. Middletown and Smyrna started playing in the same conference back in the 50s in the old Diamond State Conference. That's the original Diamond State.
Right.
And then it merged in 69 with the Henlopen Conference, and they moved Middletown out because they were in Newcastle County. So Middletown had to kind of look around. Eventually they became members of the Blue Hen Conference, and that's where they are now. But the Harvest Bowl only started maybe about 20 years ago. They had that rivalry for a while, and then it kind of like set aside.
Right.
Smyrna was still D2. Middletown moved up to D1. And now that they're both D1 again, the Harvest Bowl is back on. Middletown has won the majority, but Smyrna has pretty much had the number in the playoffs except for last year.
That is very true, but it should be a good one, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into that a little later in the show. We'll start this thing off. We had 3 great games on Delaware Live last weekend, and we'll recap them a little bit. Benny, I'll go to you here. It was a big 3A matchup in Georgetown.
Yeah, big cross-district game between Slade Zanham and Sussex Central. Not a lot of highlights in that game, but one score held midway through the second quarter. Andrew Long goes 45 yards around the left end, scores a touchdown, get the extra point, and for the next 30 minutes it was all defense. And not to say there wasn't any offense in that game, because Stower, the quarterback, Ryan Stower, the quarterback from Slade Zanham,
right.
I mean, he was 18 of 31 for 167 yards. His lone interception was on the last play of the game. It was a Hail Mary that got tipped into the end zone and picked off by Rice Steen. Kayvon Moore-Burdell had a huge fourth quarter with 2 big-time sacks. We're going to see one later on tonight. First and goal from the 12. He breaks through and sacks him for about a 12-yard loss. And just sallies 4 times in the red zone in that game and could not penetrate, could not get a touchdown.
Wow. I mean, those are big-time stands. And, 7-0, right? The old barn burner.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt like we may have been moved beyond those type of scores. Not so fast, my friend, I guess. Well, defense reigned supreme down south. Glenn, GPS had you rerouted up to Newcastle County and Pike Creek on Friday night. Ended up in a graveyard to take in St. Mark's and Red Lion.
There was no problem getting there with the GPS. It was getting out of there after the game, Pat. We were just in there for the duration.
Yeah.
Because it took a long time for the authorities and security there to get everybody out of that parking lot. I'm going to go back to that Sussex Central game just for a minute, because you and I saw Sussex Central in the first game of the season, and we were real impressed with Steen. So he now has 3 interceptions in 2 games, and he's one heck of a wide receiver. I think he's going to be a difference maker for them this year. But the game we had was lopsided. St. Mark's impressed. The player of the game, Jack O'Donoghue, had 4 sacks on 1 drive and had 2 on consecutive plays out of the 5 sacks for the night. The line play was just phenomenal with Luke Watson, the Temple commit, and the rest of those guys. The bright spot, I think, for Red Lion was that freshman quarterback, Evan Buttinger.
Yes.
He passed for almost 100 yards in the game, and he showed a lot of poise because he was being pressured the whole game. I mean, sacked 8 times, and he had to get rid of the ball a lot of times and unload a little early. St. Mark's not only they were impressive on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, that backfield with quarterback Padalano, and then the running backs. All three running backs scored in the game. T.J. Martin, Donovan Artis, and Matt Hannick.
Yep.
Red Lion will host Delmar this week, so we'll get a little bit more litmus test on both of those teams because Delmar lost to Wilmington Friends at home last week. So we'll see how those two play out in that game. We're going to have that game on with the upstate crew, and I think it'll be pretty competitive. And then St. Mark's another good test for them because they have to go down and play Woodbridge in their home opener, and Woodbridge was handled by Cape Henlopen last week. So again, we'll get a good idea of how those two react. Woodbridge after the loss and St. Mark's after a big win.
And it was a fun time there in Pike Creek, so shout out to the St. Mark's folks there. I saw they brought the parking lot tailgate back. It felt like old times over there. I didn't go to school there, but it felt like old times being around the area. Then the third and final game was taking place Saturday morning. Lake Forest traveling all the way up to North Wilmington to take on Mount Pleasant. Talked to an assistant coach after the game. Kids were at the locker room at the school at 6:15 a.m. Early morning football for those folks. It was a 10:30 kickoff. They would earn a 22-12 victory over Mount Pleasant in what was a pretty competitive football game for the most part in that one. Both teams definitely impressed. Lake Forest has played a cleaner game, pulled away in the second half, and took home the 22-12 victory in that hard-fought D2 battle. It was a very, very impressive weekend for the Delaware Live crew, and it's going to be another one that we're going to look forward to here this weekend.
For sure.
So we'll take our first commercial break of the evening. When we come back, I believe we'll have the Milford Buccaneers right here on Delaware Live Sports Weekly.
The things that matter most happen right in our own backyard. Our neighbors, our schools, the places we go, and the people we know. And now there's one news outlet where our story is told. Delaware Live. Locally owned, community-based news. Free to every reader, because Delaware's future belongs to all of us. Quality journalism we can trust to help us take on the day. Delaware Live. Our state, our news, our home. The things that matter most happen right in our own backyard. Our neighbors, our schools, the places we go, and the people we know. And now there's one news outlet where our story is told. Delaware Live. Locally owned, community-based news. Free to every reader, because Delaware's future belongs to all of us. Quality journalism we can trust to help us take on the day. Delaware Live. Our state, our news, our home.
Your home, your community. It's not just where you live, it's where you belong. At Dover Federal Credit Union, we understand what it means to be local. We started here, and we're not going anywhere. We're as local as it gets, and we like it that way. We're not just a financial institution, we are the local credit union that you can trust. Local people, local decisions. Dover Federal Credit Union.
Welcome to Premier Physical Therapy and Sports Performance. We're a locally owned outpatient physical therapy practice with convenient locations in all 3 counties in Delaware. At Premier, we have experienced physical therapists with advanced credentials, but their hospitality, passion, and enthusiasm is what makes the difference for you. Find our convenient locations at premierptsp.com.
You may have tried physical therapy,
but have you tried Premier? Welcome to Premier Physical Therapy and Sports Performance. We're a locally owned outpatient physical therapy practice with convenient locations in all 3 counties in Delaware. At Premier, we have experienced physical therapists with advanced credentials, but their hospitality, passion, and enthusiasm is what makes the difference for you. Find our convenient locations at premierptsp.com.
You may have tried physical therapy,
but have you tried Premier?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to DLS Weekly live here from the Buffalo Wild Wings in Dover, and we are joined here by our special guest, Patrick Gary Andy, Benny Mitchell, for the first time in our Delaware Live Sports Weekly format. The Milford Buccaneers, Coach Sean Strickland, players Ryan Mejia, Desmond Aladuga, and Andrew Kravitz. Gentlemen, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So hey, we'll start this one off a little easy, little handoff right here. We're going right up the gut. What's your go-to order here at Buffalo Wild Wings? Do you have a go-to sauce, go-to order? What do you got?
For me, it's probably garlic parmesan.
Yeah,
That's probably it.
I don't really come to Buffalo Wild Wings a lot, but when I do, it's probably gonna be boneless wings with honey barbecue.
I definitely get the traditional honey barbecue wings.
Respectable right there, Benny. Those are respectable.
Absolutely.
Coach, you got to go to?
I'm always torn. It's usually garlic parm or the Asian zing, but I got to go traditional.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, all great answers across the board. Well, fellas, Coach, we'll start off with you. You guys are off to a fast start this year, much like last year. You come into this big rivalry, 2-0 on the season. Where can your team make improvements, take back the bell back to Milford, and then finish stronger down the stretch this season?
We just got to stay disciplined, limit the mistakes, and keep possession of the ball. We did a nice job last week controlling the clock. We had 2 really long drives in each half that basically totaled up to about 15, 16 minutes of game time, and we put points on the board at the end of them. So anytime you can eat up basically half a quarter or 3/4 of a quarter and put points on the board, you're doing something right. So as long as we can keep those things up, we should be good.
Absolutely. And you brought 3 seniors here tonight. Obviously, you got a lot of returning players from the team last season. Talk about these guys and anybody else that has really kind of highlighted your quick start this year.
Yeah, these guys, have been with me for the last few years and just gotten better every year. And Ryan this year stepping into quarterbacks, done a fantastic job. We had Saxon back there for 4 years, and we weren't sure how it was going to look this year. But Ryan's brought back that dynamic aspect, and he's able to run the ball, get out of the pocket if something's on the edge. But also has a great arm to get it downfield, and he's been showcased in the last 2 games. Dez on both sides of the line is just a force. One of the best pullers on the team at tackle, and what he does at defensive end is enough said. He's sitting at I think it's about 5.5, 6 sacks in 2 games. Just gets out to the quarterback. Pressure about every other drop back. He forced North County to go to basically like a 1-step drop and unload. And they had talented receivers. And then AJ, he's got over 300 yards receiving already, and just dynamic on the offensive side of the ball. And we were pinned down in our own territory, and a 7-yard slant turns into a 60-yard game. So these guys have just worked really hard and earned the right to be captains. And we got Daenerys Horsey and Eli Lake in the backfield that have done a phenomenal job, basically splitting the reps and each getting their carries, each getting their yards, and each finding the end zone. So those guys have worked hard, and just excited to have them here.
Okay, each one of the players, where do you feel individually you have improved from last year to this year to have a successful season?
Honestly, I feel like I've gotten bigger, I've gotten faster, I've gotten stronger. Those are the big things. And also just improving as a leader. I took a bigger step in that leadership role and just being able to set an example for my team.
To piggyback off of Dez, I just feel like I'm more of a leader this year than anything. Coming as quarterback, I know what I have to do and how I have to lead the team. So it's really like a great change.
Definitely getting stronger, more physical, and just getting compact on my body. I think I improved a lot on my routes and getting better at catching the ball. But it's my second year, so coming in and following these guys is becoming a leader and just looking at the right guys to help me out.
Absolutely. Desmond, you had a big commitment in the off season. Congratulations on that at Duke University. Talk a little bit about that process from your perspective and how fun that must have been.
My recruit process was very fun. I had 28 offers. I went on a couple of visits to a lot of big schools, got to talk to a lot of coaches, and I felt like Duke stuck out the most just due to its education part and also being able to play Power 5 football. And then Coach Mike Elko, who just came in, I'm a big fan of Coach Elko and what he's going to do with the Duke program. See, they're 2-0 right now.
Tremendous guy. Well, hey guys, look, going back into the season here, talk a little bit about how camp, any differences in going into camp this season, and how that's kind of helped lead you into a hot start for the season.
Going into camp, we have a lot of guys this year that are willing to do what it takes to win. We have a lot of guys on our team that just want to win and want to get better, and we don't really have a lot of distractions this year. And that's the main thing. And the main goal all we have this year is just to do what it takes for our leaders, you know, and do it for your seniors.
Yeah, it's a big difference between wanting to win and doing what it takes to win. There's a big difference there. That's a good point. Coach, obviously, we're here to talk about this game Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. You'll be headed over to Lake Forest, short drive, Battle of the Bell. Everybody downstate knows what the Battle of the Bell is. Last year, you came away a little short, 28-18. What does your team have to do in this game to take that ball back to Milford Friday night?
Same thing, just stay disciplined, do what we've been working all week. And, you know, the thing we preach to these guys every day is do your job and trust the man next to you. And I think if we do that, we stand a good chance. You know, last year you go back and you watch film and you see points left off the board, mistakes made, and just missed opportunities because guys were just wanting to do too much, or, you know, they just weren't trusting the man next to them. So we've been harping on that all week and staying disciplined, limit the penalties, and do your job.
Prepping for the call this week, watched both of you guys on film. Every week I kind of try to line up quarterback versus quarterback, running back. This is evenly matched. This game is evenly matched. Maybe a slight edge for you guys in the trenches with your two bookend tackles, but it's only slight. I mean, I was amazed how evenly matched these two teams are.
Yeah. Like I said, I think when you look at last year and how everything ended, you looked at what they have coming back in their backfield as well as their quarterback, the first team all-conference kid at his age. You know, they were a team we told these guys coming in. I think they're the team that if we want to win the conference, that's going to be a team we have to beat, because I thought they were one of the better ones coming back. And, you know, and you look what we put together and the way the guys have responded to that. And again, it could very well come down to who has the ball the last second of the game.
Right. You know, rivalry games upstate, we don't have them anymore up north like we do down south. So you guys get to showcase small town football, you know, a little bit of a rivalry. But this game used to be a Week 10. You know, for 50 years, Milford and Lake Forest waited for 10 weeks to play this game. Now it's Week 2. Technically Week 3, but Week 2 in the schedule. But it's a huge rivalry. But even though it's going to be played early, does it still have the same intensity? Will you bring the same intensity to the field as you would have if it was the last week with a playoff spot on the line?
Most definitely, because we're playing for something. We're playing for that bell. So no matter what week we're playing, we're going to be ready.
I know for Lake Week, it's a different mentality when we practice. We go harder, we go faster. It's just, we know what we got at stake. It's for the bell. It's for the community.
Yeah, I think it's just one thing. As soon as we're here at Lake, we're here at the bell. We just get at it every single practice.
Anybody know how much the bell weighs?
It's got to be like 50 pounds. That thing's heavy, man.
I think I read just the bell alone is like 8 pounds, and then the trophy makes it a lot heavier.
No,
but I bet it'll feel light if you get to lift it up over your head Friday night, won't it?
Yeah, the adrenaline flowing for sure. That's one thing I've always appreciated about what you guys got going on down here. Down south, you got Battle for the Belt. It reminds me of college football. They got nothing like that up north, man. So that is really cool. All right, fellas. We're going to end on the very famous question. I don't know if you guys have watched the show.
People got to know.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched the show in the past, but we ask this all the time. You got your AirPods in or your headphones, whatever the case. You put your beats on pregame. What's the go-to song that gets you going, brings the beast out?
I'm going to start off with that. I'm going to say Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill.
That's everybody this year.
That turned me up, man.
Absolutely.
For me, it's anything by Lil Baby or G Herbo.
Okay.
But lately, the team's been listening a lot to Vet Motors by NBA Youngboy, so that's what we're going with.
I don't know who any of those are.
To piggyback off of that, I think it would be Vet Motors right now from NBA Youngboy.
Gotta give that one a listen, Benny.
Yeah,
we gotta give that one a listen.
Coach?
Man, I'm so old school. I remember, back in the locker room when I was in high school, it was like WWF music.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, it's been a go-to. It was my go-to in college. The last thing I clicked on in the original iPod, Metallica Enter Sandman. Just gets you fired up.
V-Tac, baby.
Being down at Hokie Stadium, when I was down there to watch Breon that first time, that's what you get amped up, and then watching them come out and how they do it.
Just watching on TV
there's
gets you amped
nothing
up.
better.
It's tremendous.
Yeah,
Great answers. Phenomenal.
Yeah, you'll get a chance to enjoy that, huh?
See, look
Once
at
a
that.
year.
It's culture and everybody out
Right.
there, man. That's it. That's tremendous. Well, hey, thanks again, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you guys coming on. Milford Buccaneers, ladies and gents. Sean Strickland, head coach, Ryan Mejia, Desmond Aladugue, and Andrew Kravitz. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, Glenn's going to rejoin us. We'll have more DLS Weekly after this.
I would always pass by Ferris on Kirkwood Highway, so I knew that they existed. We stopped in the showroom. We just clicked, like from day one. They did a total kitchen renovation for us. Ferris was so organized. They were on top of everything from day one. Always here when they said they would be, always on time, kept to the schedule. The level of comfort speaking to everyone that works at Ferris, they were just super friendly, easy to talk to. It was like they were friends, not, people coming to work on our kitchen. The room is totally transformed from what it used to look like. To have all the seating now and the big table, the bench seats, it's great. I love coming home and just walking through the laundry room into the kitchen every day. It was just a great experience. We love Ferris.
Hi, I'm Scott Kammerer from Solo Concepts. Today we're at Fish On in the Villages of 5 Points. Come check us out. Fish On is committed to serving beautiful, simple coastal cuisine in a cool atmosphere with a happening bar, spacious dining room, and outside patio. Popular dishes include the seafood stew and fresh oysters from the raw bar. Fish On's recently renovated event room and is the perfect spot for your next event. Fish On in Lewis in the Villages of 5 Points, open 7 days a week, best happy hour around. See you soon. Hi, I'm Scott Kammerer from Solo.
On your screen. Blum and Wagner.
When do you want to do
He's
that?
got it.
Yeah, hold on.
That's
He's got it back there.
When do you want to do the thing?
Get the assurance that your HVAC system is what you need with Ambience. Ambience provides you with over 25 years of experience in the heating, cooling, and plumbing industry. The team at Ambience Heating and Air Conditioning provides high-quality residential HVAC installations, maintenance, and repairs in new and older homes in the Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania tri-state area. You may not realize it, but half of your energy costs go to heating and cooling. Make sure your energy dollars count and call us today for a free estimate. 302-239-HVAC. 302-239-4822. Get the assurance that your HVAC system is.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to DLS Weekly. Once again, thank you to the Milford football team. First time, Benny, stopping by. And
First time we've had the Bucks on the show, absolutely. Yeah.
It's awesome. It was great talking with him. We're going to welcome Glenn Frazier back to the set here, and we're going to dive into our Super 7 football rankings. 7 Delaware Live Sports panelists. That's kind of how we made this thing happen here. We're going to vote for the top 7 teams in the 3 football classes. Our boy Jay, he gets down in the bunker, starts adding up the point total, and that's how we come up with these Super 7s. So here we go. We're going to discuss them, starting off with our Class A rankings, which you're seeing up on your screen. Laurel still sitting atop there, all 7 first place votes. St. E's sitting at 2. And you see a little bit of change right there in the middle, Benny. Seaford, they've impressed early in the season.
Yeah, you could say the win over, they had a big win over Colonel Richardson, but that was a school much their size. I think the win over Tower Hill, not just a win, a dominant win over Tower Hill, a team that was in the semi or quarterfinals last year of Double A. Lost to Woodbridge, beat Sussex Tech last year in the playoffs. Seaford, they're cleaning up the mistakes, which I said they had to do after week 1.
Right.
They're doing that. They're cutting down the penalties. I tell you guys, they're athletes. They got some athletes on that field.
Absolutely. Taking a look at it, the rest of the 7 there, 1 additional team received the top 7 vote. That was St. Andrews. Taking a look at the Super 7 here, Glenn, anybody that's not ranked that you see that could potentially come up and slide into this bunch?
Not really, unless St. Andrews should get hot.
Right.
We'll have to see. They usually have a limited schedule. They play a little bit of out-of-state teams. And then, of course, they still have the independent conference. They're the only football conference that's still in existence besides the 3A, 2A, 1A. So they still play Wilmington Friends and Tower Hill and Tatton. So
There's going to be a game this weekend, noon Saturday. It's going to tell us a little bit about a team we don't talk much about. Wilmington Charters travel down to Glasgow.
Yes.
So we're going to find out. Glasgow lost big to Caravel, but that's stepping up to a 2A team.
Right.
Caravel's a good team. They're ranked in there, and we're going to see them in a minute. The Dragons could make a name for themselves noon Saturday.
There you go, Glasgow. We'll keep an eye on that game for sure. Wilmington Charter is at number 7 in these rankings this week. Moving along to Class 2A after week 1. A little bit of a shake up the 2A towards the bottom. As you can see, Archmere, they received all 7 votes as they've gotten off to a hot start. St. Mark's, they impressed, Glenn.
Yeah.
You alluded it earlier, 2-0 to start their season. Howard, we saw impressed as well. But towards the bottom, you see newcomers. Caravel in at number 5. Lake Forest, who hopefully we can get them in here at some point here today. They move into number 6. DMA sliding down to number 7. Milford and Delmar also receiving votes. So a lot of teams in the mix there for the Super 7 in Class 2A. Talk to me a little bit, Benny. Obviously, you see 2 newcomers there. What stands out to you there?
We said last year when they finally broke out these districts and these classes, we all said AA was going to be the most competitive, most interesting, fun to watch. It was last year. It's again this year.
Yeah.
A Milford win Friday night.
Yeah.
We got to start talking about that. Right now, they received votes, but they're not in yet. Caravel, Lake Forest, they weren't ranked to start the season. Big wins, they got themselves in. But again, another big game on Friday night. Lake Forest, Milford. It's going to tell us a little bit more. Not only of those 2 teams, it's going to tell us a little bit more about AA and District 3. And kind of looking at what's going on right now in District 3, you might see a flip-flop.
Yeah.
From the teams that were up top last year, you might see a total flip-flop and see maybe 3 different teams make the playoffs from District 3 this year.
Glen 2A obviously is the most teams in terms of a conglomerate of any of the 3 classes. What kind of stands out to you? Taking a look at the top 7, obviously a lot of impressive starts there at the top, but a lot of teams can make something happen in this class, I feel like.
And you still got to keep an eye on Delmar and Woodbridge. They're traditional powers in the old Henlopen South in Division 2. I think they've got off to disappointing starts.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, they can play themselves right back into this thing, but 2A, District 3, is by far the most competitive district in all of the classifications. You're talking about the Milford Lake Forest teams that'll play on Benny's game Friday night. You got traditional powers like Delmar and Woodbridge. You bring Caravel into the mix. So, I mean, it's just top to bottom the best class district in the state. And some teams can still play their way in. 21 teams in 2A, and there's a lot of parity there.
And moving right along, we'll go to our top division, Class 3A here, and there's no changes up here in Class 3A. Middletown, despite the loss, it was to a very, very respectable out-of-state opponent. They still get all 7 first-place votes, and as you can see, the rest of the lineup there. Hodson also received some love this week. Taking a look at it, guys, I know obviously there are not as many teams up here in Class 3A, so not as much chance for movement there, but taking a look at their 7, anything stand out to you so far that has been a surprise?
Well, how good's Arundel? Was kind of what stands out to me.
Yeah.
They beat Dover, 14-0 loss to Smyrna. Your Smyrna-Sussex Central game is starting to look like it's going to be a big one down the road here. Hodson and William Penn both have a big opportunity this week to get themselves in the top 7. Hodson goes down to Sussex Central on Saturday night. William Penn, they're going to host Cape and Lopin on Saturday afternoon. Two big games here in 3A.
I think 3A is still top heavy right now. It's Smyrna and Middletown. Sussex Central is making a case to be that number 3 team. And then who's going to come in behind them? Is it going to be St. George's? Is it going to be Salesiana? I mean, we got 7-8 weeks to decide who else is going to get up there and challenge these guys. But we're going to find out a lot about Smyrna and Middletown Friday night on our first state ortho game of the week. Smyrna has a very good defense, a lot back from last year. They had to rebuild that offense. That's probably one reason why they only scored 14 points against Arundel. But Middletown passed the ball fairly well against that St. John's team. They just couldn't put anything on the board. So I'm looking forward to that one, Pat. I think that's going to, it's a great rivalry.
Yeah.
2 communities side by side, and they just get after it. It's going to be an electric atmosphere at Cavalier Stadium.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk more about that after the break, Glenn. We're going to dive into our schedules, what we got coming up. this upcoming weekend. So stick around. They have a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We'll talk a little more football right here on DLS Weekly.
Melissa Ellis is part of 4 Acre Realty Company. She is licensed in both Delaware and Pennsylvania. Melissa knows that being personable and patient is a key to her success as a realtor. Helping both buyers and sellers understand current market values and conditions puts them in the best position when making an offer or pricing a home for sale. That kind of high-level professional communication and her skill at being a team player put Melissa's clients at ease, knowing she has their best interests at heart. Melissa is also an athlete herself, playing multiple sports, so she understands what teamwork means. She is still involved in sports, whether it's sponsoring, coaching, or being team mom for her own 2 daughters' teams. What sets her apart is how grateful Melissa is for the trust of her clients. She never takes that trust for granted. She affords all people respect and honesty and works hard to be the support system clients need and deserve. Melissa Ellis, strong connections, strong service. Melissa Ellis is part of...
We're back here, ladies and gents. The Buffalo Wild Wings here at Dover. DLS Weekly. Benny Mitchell, Glenn Frazier, Patrick Ariane is here with you. And guys, we'll take this opportunity. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the games we're going to be presenting this upcoming weekend. A lot of good of them. Glenn, I'll start with you. You kind of hinted at it there before the break. Got a big one coming up Friday night.
Our first state ortho game of the week, the Harvest Bowl at Middletown High School, the defending state champs in 3A, a rematch of last year's championship game. And we caught up with interim head coach Dan Wagner for Smyrna earlier in the week about the importance of this game. With Dan Wagner, the interim head coach at Smyrna High School. And Coach, this game, this Harvest Bowl, it has a lot of meaning, I think, for both teams. But what does it mean to you and Smyrna, you being so close to the Appoquinimink School District and Middletown High School?
Well, it means a lot because you have 2 very proud programs, some blue-collar communities that are very close together. Our kids haven't won the Harvest Bowl. We beat them a few times in the state championship game, but our kids don't know what even the Harvest Bowl looks like. So it means a lot. We are always trying to obviously win every game, but this one in particular, because of the proximity and the fact we haven't beaten them very often. I'm actually a Middletown grad, so it means a lot for me too. I haven't had the opportunity to beat them in the regular season, and we'd love to do that. They are an absolutely amazing program, extremely well coached, great athletes all over the place. So it's going to be a tough challenge, but that's what we like in our program. We like to challenge ourselves, challenge our kids, and it's going to be a great battle.
Our thanks to interim head coach at Smyrna, Dan Wagner, who's the defensive coordinator. And of course, you all probably know by now that head coach Mike Judy has taken a temporary medical leave of absence, non-life-threatening, and everybody here at 302 Sports and Delaware Live wish him all the best, and we hope that he gets back on the sidelines real soon. Now, Coach Wagner's been on the staff for 24 years at Smyrna, and he told me he's used to calling the game on the top of the press box as the DC.
Right.
Well, now he's interim head coach. He had to step down back on the sidelines. He said, I can't wait for Coach to come back because I don't like it down here. I like the view up top. So he wants to get back up there just as soon as he can. Now, Dan Wagner actually graduated from Middletown High School, and so did Middletown Cavalier head coach Zach Blum, and we caught up with him earlier this week as well, talking about the importance of the Harvest Bowl. With the head coach of the Middletown Cavaliers, defending state champs in 3A, it's head coach Zach Blum. And Coach, what a game coming up, Harvest Bowl. It's early in the season, but traditionally, you guys have done very well against Smyrna in the Harvest Bowl. I'm not even sure Smyrna's ever beat Middletown in a Harvest Bowl game, but you've had good success. Talk to us about what this means. The districts are side by side. The communities are kind of like intertwined. So what does this mean for Middletown and the program and your staff and kids?
For myself personally, it's certainly a game I grew up with. Even in Pop Warner, being a little guy playing in those games meant a lot. The way our community's changed, I don't know that it is quite the same for these guys. A lot of our student athletes have moved to the district. in middle school or elementary school, so they didn't grow up with it quite the same way that we did. But obviously, it's a great game between two premier programs, and something that we look forward to each year.
With the head coach of the middle.
Coach Wagner and Coach Blum there for sitting down with Glenn and sharing their thoughts on this. Cannot wait. Big one Friday night at Middletown High School. And we'll switch gears here. Benny, I'll come to you here. Downstate Crew's got a pretty big game as well. We've talked, obviously, to one of those teams here tonight. Big one between Milford and Lake.
Yeah, obviously another downstate rivalry game. Upstate's going to have the Red Lion Delmar game, which I think we talked about earlier. A loss there could be that's a district game. That could be detrimental to the end of the season. One game, obviously Smyrna Middletown is the game, but I think another game out there. I already alluded to Glasgow Women's and Charter. Kind of fun to see the results of that, but we haven't talked about Dover St. George's. I think this game is equally as big. It's not a rivalry, but it's equally as big a game. They're sitting at what, 4 and 5?
Yeah.
And everybody's knocking at that door. We'll see if the offense improves for Smyrna as the year goes on. But right now, I think that 3, 4, and 5 has to be kind of salivating right now, thinking, we can be in the state tournament. We can be in the state championship game.
Yeah, right, Benny. And Dover quarterback, we saw Dover in week 1. Sheen Cosby rushed for almost 200 yards last week in that victory for the Dover Senators. And I'm going to bring up another game. I think you alluded to it, Benny, earlier in our broadcast. It's Cape Henlopen at William Penn.
Yeah.
So how much for real is Cape after a tight loss to Sally's and a convincing win over Woodbridge? And William Penn, young team, trying to get things going. 2 freshman quarterbacks, Pat. Remember, we saw them both in that ball game against Sussex Central. So how much has William Penn improved, and how good is Cape Henlopen? And that's a big game, I think, in 3A as well.
Yeah, we saw William Penn last week beat Penwood, but we don't know who they are.
Right.
Cape with the exciting game with Sally's, and then Sally's getting in a dogfight with Sussex Central, who we all thought was a dominant team. And then Cape with the big win over Woodbridge, and I noticed some key players. Woodbridge is not there. I don't know if that makes a difference, but they did have some guys. They're obviously big graduating class, and Cape's got a lot back. And the new coach, they're playing excited, and Saturday 1:30 could be an interesting game up in William Penn.
Absolutely, and you alluded to that Delmar and Red Lion game, as you mentioned, Benny, and that's a litmus test for sure.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see both of those teams, 2 different styles of play there, and Red Lion with that young roster, Glenn. We heard a lot about going into that game. St. Mark's, just the experience, they were clicking on all cylinders. Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Usually in the old before the classes. When you had the conference champs qualify and everybody said it'd be at large, it was you had to wait to like week 6, week 5, week 6 to start seeing the movement.
Yeah.
Now, with the way they've structured these schedules, where you're having a district game almost every other week, every week. Now we're talking week 3. We're talking Delmar Red Lion, a loss, and you might be out. So these district games early are important.
They absolutely are. We'll take another quick commercial break here. When we come back, top plays as well as weekly performers right here on DLS Weekly.
First State Orthopedic statewide has 29 physicians at 16 locations. Our physicians and staff provide both non-surgical as well as surgical treatment for almost all orthopedic conditions and injuries. We are specially trained in the current state-of-the-art techniques. We serve as team physician and orthopedic consultant for over 20 high schools, Wilmington University, and many local recreational and competitive leagues. Our doctors are readily available to the local emergency departments as well as medical aid units and urgent care centers for consultation and treatment. Call for an appointment today or visit us at firststateortho.com.
Wraps, signs, banners, and promotional items that can help your business stand out from the rest. Looking for an excellent way to convey a professional image? Customized promotional products are the perfect way to target new customers, increase employee retention, and boost your brand awareness. Let the professionals at Cassidy Graphics bring your advertising ideas to life. Give them a call today at 302-326-2412. Again, that number is 302-326-2412. Again, Cassidy Graphics brings your advertising ideas to life. Wraps, sign.
Season is here, and we once again had a great show here tonight. And now we're going to take a look at the top performers from week 1 of the football season. Coaches and athletic directors, we would really appreciate it if you could send some stats, nominate athletes each week, and that's how we're going to come up with these lists as we continue on throughout the season. So without further ado, we'll start this one off with the top performers for week 1. We're going to start down in Laurel. Kylie Wilson, 12 carries, Benny, 175 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Bulldogs, who are off to a fantastic start early in the season, looking to repeat as champions.
That's his second big game in a row for him. And Laurel was the wire-to-wire #1 team last year, and now they're extending it right into this season. We're going to move to top performer number 2, Macy Bradford, Delmar Field Hockey. 7 goals in 2 games last weekend against Severna Park and Pocomoke, which are 2 powerhouses in Maryland field hockey. Macy Bradford, 7 goals over 2 days. Big performance out of the Delmar Wildcat.
What a program.
Yeah.
Them and Cape Henlope, and I guess we're going to see them in the state finals again this year.
Not different divisions.
Yeah, I know.
But able to be,
Yeah. Of course, they play each other.
They will.
They usually get together and do that. But that'll be a great one. I think last year was a 1-0 game between those two. Yeah. All right, number 3 performer of the week, Smyrna High School. Brandon West goes down to Arundel, has picked up right where he left off last year. He was a stud last year as a sophomore. He's a junior. He had 10 tackles, 3 sacks, blocked a field goal, and forced a fumble as the Eagles D shut out Arundel 14-0. We'll get to see him live and in person on Friday night at Middletown. He is a load. And he's not that big. Coach said he put on 20 pounds in the offseason. He said he's still about 175 soaking wet. Now, I think he's a wrestler too, Benny.
He is, absolutely is. I think he was a 45-pounder last year, 52-pounder last year.
Explains why he's racking up the tackles, man. A double leg takedown.
That's right. Run across the back, get him on the ground, absolutely. Jack O'Donoghue, we'll go up to the graveyard in Pike Creek. Jack O'Donoghue, St. Mark's, 5 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss. He was apparently just havoc on red line all day. And I think 4 of them came in the same, like back to back.
Same drive.
Yeah.
Same drive. Unbelievable.
Same drive. Yeah, he dominated that game. I mean, obviously Luke Watson gets a lot of attention, right? Temple commit. Well, that's going to leave the door open for some of these other guys. O'Donoghue actually came in and spelled him on that drive. Right. Because he was not starting at defensive end. He came in that drive in the second quarter and put up 4 sacks on that drive. It was truly something to affect the game from the defensive end position like that. That's extremely impressive. And then finally, we'll finish it off. A fellow Viking of mine. I salute you, sir. Kasim Benson of St. Elizabeth's. He did it all last year for the Vikings, helped them march to a state championship appearance against Laurel. 4 rushing touchdowns in week 1 of 12, 30, 3, and 20 yards. Mr. Seamer, as they like to call him at the St. E's area, getting it done. He does it all for them. He's one of the state's top running backs. There's no doubt about it.
Needs to stay healthy this year. Maybe got a little banged up last year at the tail end of the season.
And I had one more. He was on last week, so I didn't nominate him again this week. But Jazante Levon from Seaford had another huge game for the Blue Jays. And, this kid, triple or single leg, watch out. This kid has got track speed. When he gets the edge, it's good night. Jazante Levon, I don't have his exact stats, but I know he went over 200 yards on last Friday night against Tower Hill.
It's impressive. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that Seaford program now. We're hearing a lot of good things, and they're starting to back it up with 2 early season victories. So that will do it for our top performers. Once again, thanks to everybody who submitted statistics as well as names. We really do appreciate it, and that's what it's all about. We want to highlight the best of the best right here. So we'll continue the show moving forward. It's time for our top plays of the week. And then once again, before we get going, another reminder. Please you see any highlights out there, if you're at games, if you're filming, catching highlights, send them to us. Like we said, we want to highlight everybody that we possibly can. We can't be everywhere at every single game, so it would really be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, Nick Halliday, roll that beautiful top play footage.
And here we go, everybody's favorite part of the week. It's Delaware Live Sports Top 10 Plays for week number 1, brought to you by BSN Sports. Getting it started with number 10 and Anna Richardson from Smyrna. Here she's going to get blocked, able to get the dig, save it, and then she's going to get a block herself for the point. Anna Richardson kicking things off at number 10. Over to number 9, Kevon Moore-Burdell from Sussex Central. He's going to come right off the edge here, makes a move inside, nowhere to run. He gets the big sack for Sussex Central, and the Golden Knights get a big win against the Lazy Annam. On to number 8. Now we go to St. Mark's and TJ Martin. A big handoff up the gut, runs over a defender on his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Then number 7, some big hits, McKeevis Rogers and Aiden Young. Let's start with McCain. McKeevis Rogers going to lay the boom there, reads it perfectly, makes the play, ball out. Big time play from Rogers. Then over to Lake Forest. Check out this block from Aiden Young at the 30-yard line, clearing the way for his running back to pick up some big yardage and a first down. Do big hits there at number 7. On to number 6, James Simmons to Mason McCabe. Again, Snow had to leave the game. In come the middle. McCabe goes up and gets the ball. A beautiful catch and then takes it into the end zone. Mason McCabe there at number 6. On to number 5, Andrew Long, some more Sussex Central Golden Knights. This time you're going to see him doing it on offense. The handoff, there's the speed. He's got some room. Cuts inside. One defender shakes off to the 20, the 10, down the sideline. How about one more broken tackles? He gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Then some Mount Pleasant Green Knight defense from Azai Napier here at number 4. Reading the quarterback's eyes, gets a hand on it, tips it up in the air, and makes the interception himself. Napier doing it all there at number 4. Then over to Wilmington Friends for number 3, and it's Robbie Lowcamp. Check it out here onto the pitch here at the soccer field. Check out this shot. I had to watch this one a few times. That is an absolute rocket off the side of the post and in, a game winner as well. Doesn't get much better than that. Now over back to St. Mark's at number 2, Jack O'Donohue. Check out these sacks. 5 in the game, 4-on-1 drive. There's the first one. He comes free off the edge there. That's not going to work for number 2. Here he is with number 3 right here. The move inside, able to grab the quarterback, take him down, and 3 sacks is good. How about 4 sacks in 1 drive? That's a little bit better. Jack O'Donohue there with some big-time plays for the Spartans at number 2. Then Lake Forest gets our top play of the week. Jameer Snell looking like Debo Samuel here. He can catch, he can run. They're going to hand it off here on the jet sweep. Here he is, gets to the sideline, makes a few defenders miss, has some blockers up in front of him, cuts inside, back outside, untouched, into the end zone for Jameer Snell. Lake Forest gets the victory on the road at Mount Pleasant in week number 1. That's your Delaware Live Sports Top 10 Plays of the Week.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. DLS Weekly, there it is, your top plays of the week, brought to you by BSN Sports. Thanks to Nick Alessandrini for doing the voiceover on those plays. Keep an eye out. We'll hopefully be able to play those throughout the weekend. And like we said, a reminder to coaches, ADs, parents, athletes as well. If you're getting your huddle tape, I know you're sending them out to coaches. Give us some love, man. We want to highlight you. So by all means, get those over to us. So before we close it out, we do want to let you know, obviously Buffalo Wild Wings, a big sponsor here of Delaware Live Sports. They allow us to run our shows here through the week. They got some great September specials for you and your family. You know, maybe a little date night, not quite sure, that you and the boys want to get together. This is a great opportunity to do so. They have an all-new saucy chicken sandwich. You ask, well, what's in that, Pat? Well, it's made up of hand-breaded chicken breast, tangy pickles, and your choice of B-dub sauce, all between a buttery brioche bun. You gotta love the brioche, Glenn.
Pickles.
I would have asked, but it was right there in front of me.
It is unbelievable, right? And then now they're also combining all your game day favorites into one delicious dish. I actually tried one of these prior to the show. This is all I'm going to give you on that one. It's their brand new boneless bar pizza, featuring a pizza covered in boneless wings, their iconic sauces, and it's the ultimate football food, and it will make B-Dubs the place to watch all the action this fall. You got a couple more weeks here in September. Make sure you get down to one of the great locations throughout the Delaware area, Benny.
That would have been a real surprise if they weren't boneless chicken on that pizza.
Yeah, eating the bones, right? You're going up the St. Mark's to the we'll call it the boneyard. Right? Tremendous. Well, we will be off next week, but do not fret. We'll be back the following week, 2 weeks. It'll be at the Middletown location, and we're hoping to have Smyrna Red Lion for that potential. So keep an eye out for that in a couple of weeks. And now, guys, I'm going to toss it to you here. Final thoughts for the upcoming fall season as we enter week 2 of the fall season.
I noticed on Twitter this week there was a picture of the 7 seniors that would have played for AI DuPont and how they are now officially members of the McCain football team. And I just want to say again, to me, that is the feel-good story of the season. I'm so glad. Because of the lack of numbers, AI DuPont had to cancel their varsity season. They're only playing JV. But 7 seniors were going to be without a football season, and McCain picked them up in that Red Clay School District. DIAA quickly went to the board, they got it cleared, and they let these 7 kids get out there and enjoy their senior season of football. And I just think that's a great story. So far, the best story of the season.
Now, are they the High Tigers or
the Highlanders?
Will they be the High Tigers now?
Oh, will they be the High Tigers? I see where you're going with that. Yeah,
with that
Tigerlanders.
Something like that. We'll see.
We'll figure it out.
And
we'll have to ask them.
DIA does do, folks. They do some good things, and they do them quickly sometimes. So, got to get them some kudos there.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, Friday mornings, we put out our picks for the week for football games.
Sure.
Each week we have a guest picker. We have a little bit of fun with it. Check us out Friday morning. We'll put them out, get them out on Twitter, Facebook, always, of course, on YouTube. Check them out. Tell us what you think.
There you go. And I'm going to switch gears away from the fall sports. I've seen some come across Twitter this week, and I got to give a shout out. St. Mark's own University of Delaware, former University of Delaware player Billy Sullivan, friend of the show. He was actually named the Reading Phil's Pitcher of the Year. As out of relief for them at the Phillies AA affiliate. So shout out to Billy. Congratulations, tremendous accomplishment. And that young man's going to be off to a bright future. Hopefully we see him up at Citizens Bank Park in the next few years. So shout out to him. So don't forget, you can also find out more news and updates on the website every day. Make sure you visit DelawareLiveSports.com. Join your website there to keep up to date on all Delaware sports. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'd also like to give thanks once again to participants from the school, whether it be coaches, ADs, the students. The show goes on. It won't be able to go on without your participation, sending us the top performance, top plays, as well as guys like the Milford football team coming on and sharing a little bit of their program with us on a weekly basis. We also want to give our special thanks to our sponsors during the shows and games. You see their ads and their commercials. If you're in the market for any of their professional products, please contact them. Let them know that you saw their ad right here on Delaware Live Sports. They're locally owned and conduct business in true professionalism. Without these companies, our shows and live streams would not be possible. Remember, tune in 2 Wednesdays from now. We're going to be off next week. 2 Wednesdays from now, Buffalo Wild Wings, Middletown location. So for Glenn Frazier, Benny Mitchell, I've been Patrick Arianes, Nick Halliday, making sure this thing's running smoothly. We appreciate you all tuning in to this edition of DLS Weekly. Thank you. Have a good night.
The things that matter most happen right in our own backyard. Our neighbors, our schools, the places we go, and the people we know. And now there's one news outlet where our story is told. Delaware Live. Locally owned, community-based news. Free to every reader, because Delaware's future belongs to all of us. Quality journalism we can trust to help us take on the day. Delaware Live. Our state, our news,